Welcome to Cambodia Business Week. Today is our first on-location Cambodia Business Week. And why not have Mexican food?
It's a good time to do it.
That's right. We're here at Agave Cocina.
Agave Cocina.
Agave Cocina. Again, this is the funny part of Anthony never being able to pronunciate anything properly, but there you go. But I could say it's Michael Pataran, who is the chef and owner of the restaurant. So first let me say good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome, everybody.
We're obviously recording today. It's not Saturday morning as we normally have, but we're recording today, so this will be broadcast on Saturday morning. So let's talk a little bit about you. Where are you originally from?
Toronto, Canada. Born and raised, but always traveling my whole life from my teenage years on. Worked in Italy, traveled to the South Pacific, throughout Europe, worked in the Caribbean, United States. Parents were in the business. They owned restaurants and
What type
clubs.
of restaurants do they own?
They had taverns and pubs and bars and nightclubs as well. So I kind of grew up in this industry. It kind of chose me. So at a very young age, I also had grandparents that were very good cooks. So I was kind of drawn to the kitchen in my youth, and that kind of played through as I grew up and got into this business full time.
Did you have any formal training?
Yeah, I went to culinary school in Australia.
Australia?
Yeah.
Not
And
France?
Not France, no. I went backpacking in Australia when I was 19 and 20. I went to culinary school there and worked around, and that's when I kind of fell in love with the whole Asian aspect of cuisine. That Asian explosion back in 90, 91 hadn't hit North America yet. So it was still a very Cal-I-Tel kind of a food scene back then. So when I came back, I kind of kept pushing and getting into the whole Asian side of it, especially focusing on the Japanese.
Japanese.
Yeah.
Love Japanese.
Yeah.
All right, so how'd you end up in Cambodia?
I worked with a friend in the Bahamas. There was a guy that I was the F&B manager and chef at a luxury resort called Albany in the Bahamas. And there was a guy that I actually hired to be another GM of a club who happened to be Canadian as well from Vancouver. And after he came on, we became good friends. Years go by, he left there, ended up in Bhutan, but we stayed in touch.
Right.
And then he took a job in Cambodia at Songsa in the islands. Songsa Private Island.
Now, who would that be?
Bradley.
Bradley, okay.
Do you know Bradley?
No?
Okay. But anyways, so he gave me a call one day and said, hey, I'm looking for an executive chef. He said, the old, do you know anybody? Kind of throwing the line out there. And I said, no, I was very busy where I was at the time in Toronto, and I said no, and kind of passed it by. And then another month later, revisited, and before you knew it, I was in Cambodia.
Did you work in Songsa?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was a chef for a year.
How was the Songsa experience for you?
It was pretty amazing. I lived on an island before, so I understand island life and culture, and it can be pretty slow at times and a little bit wall climbing. It was nice.
It's 27 villas, right?
It's a par 5, right? You live on a par 5.
Right.
That's how I explain it to people. So, after a year, it was kind of getting a little too much. So I was craving a bit more.
Everybody wants to go there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great. It's a great place to visit. Beautiful place.
It is beautiful. It's great to visit, and it's a great location. It's very serene and peaceful at night. The staff are fantastic. But a year was good for me.
And you're dealing with a lot of wealthy people.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
How is it harder? Is it harder to deal with much wealthier people that are paying quite a significant amount of money to be there?
It was, but when I was at Albany, we were dealing with incredibly wealthy people like Paul Allen's and that kind of people.
Right.
So it was compared to Songsa, it was a private resort community, so they lived there. The golfers, Justin Rose, and all these people live there. So we've been really used to kind of dealing with them and the wants and demands and things.
Now we always like to ask, what is your strangest experience that you have? So, what was the strangest experience you had on Songsa?
You mean with a guest?
Yes.
Oh.
We always have to ask hospitality people.
Yeah, there's guests that think that you are their own personal assistant.
Right.
That want we had them we had a lady that came in and she was like that. She wanted everything down to a T the way she wanted it, no matter without anybody else being cared for. She wanted to have 100% personalized service, and it can get a bit tricky, but people will tend to do that.
So you had to balance that one.
Yeah, you do. You gotta manage it basically. You gotta be a good manager. You learn how to manage people, and you gotta learn how to manage guests and clients. It's the same way.
What were the type of foods that you served on Songsa?
It was pretty much international. We did do a lot of obviously local Cambodian because people were coming there, and
right.
that was the flavor. But we had nights where we would do, I built a tandoor when I was there, so we did Indian pit cooking. We'd have Italian nights. We would do different European and Latino nights, and we'd throw a lot of different flavors in.
So you learned to cook Cambodian dishes.
Yeah.
Right, tell us about your favorite Cambodian dish.
My favorite, I think, Cambodian dish is, I know a lot of people will say lak lak. I do like fish and muck, but there's one called play tray, which is kind of a ceviche, and it's with banana leaf and with fresh lime juice, and it's just got this amazing array of textures and flavors, and also has nuts in it as well. So that's one of my favorite. The curries I like a lot. There's a red chicken curry that's a little bit different than Thai curries. I find them a little more subtle.
Not as spicy.
Not as spicy or pungent. I find them a little bit toned down. And a little bit more sweeter. They tend to have a bit of a sweeter palate here.
So how did you learn to cook Cambodian food?
With the staff that were around me. I had some very good chefs around me that were very good local cooks.
At Song Sa?
At Song Sa, yeah. My sous chefs and that. So just by kind of watching them, and then through my own personal research, and every time I traveled or went around Cambodia, I'd always order certain dishes just to see the diversity of that dish. I'd always try a fish and muck just because I wanted to try. There's so many variants.
So have you become a really good Cambodian cook?
I've become I'm pretty adept at it, I would say. I'm a pretty good Cambodian cook at this point.
But we're not in a Cambodian restaurant. Today
we're
in a Mexican restaurant.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
So you after Song Sa, I imagine you decided to go on your own?
Well, I came up here and then I did some consulting.
Right.
And then after that time, I had one of my partners that is now a partner here was, we were talking about opening a restaurant, kind of figuring out which way to lean. And we were thinking, what type of cuisine would suit best. And I think after talking to people and researching, there seemed to be a hole of Mexican cuisine in the city. There wasn't a really good representation of Mexican food. It was either very Tex-Mexy, or it didn't fill the void in the sense of the atmosphere and the decor and everything. It was very kind of just down to the ground, not much to it.
We have a few. I guess we have Viva on the riverfront.
Which
gets that tourist type
gets
crowd.
The tourist trap kind of going there.
And then we have the Corona.
Yeah, Taqueria Corona.
Right, which is big dishes.
Yeah.
And then we have Dos Pesos and you.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So there's
it was about
four or five.
So what makes your restaurant, besides it does look very Mexican?
Yeah, I think we tend to give the overall experience. Our menu is Oaxacan, so it's from the south of Mexico along the Gulf there in the Yucatan Peninsula side. We tend to stay away from too much Tex-Mex. We don't do the Mexican mice and all these things that people do that are more Tex-Mex food. So we have a lot of dishes that are indigenous to that area. We have the tlayudas, which are the pizzas that are folded over like quesadillas but larger.
Right.
We have tamales that are wrapped in banana leaves, which are very traditional of that region as well. And we tend to stick to more Mexican soul food in that sense.
What's Mexican soul food?
It's food that your mom and pop would cook when you were growing up. So the tamales, for instance. Tamales are one of the staples of Mexican cuisine that people don't really know a lot about that come to Mexican restaurants. And we have people that come here, and we always recommend the tamales. And people love our tamales. We make them, fresh masa.
Come here for tamales. You have to try the tamales.
Yeah, definitely. And we make them with fresh masa, and we stuff them with chicken and pork, and we make fresh cheese in house. So we make a fresh queso fresco every other day, and we use that for stuffing and wrap it in banana leaves, and we serve it with a mole, which is a very traditional sauce of Oaxaca. And mole is one of the cornerstone sauces, and it's made from chilies and tomatoes and nuts and spices all ground up together and then basically cooked over a low fire just to get this thick kind of a ragu kind of texture to it. And it's finished with chocolate at the very end, Mexican chocolate.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that people think of Mexican food to be very spicy. Is it
do.
spicy?
This is the thing. A lot of people will say, I didn't find it really spicy. I think that, again, it's the Tex-Mex thing of loading a dish up with chilies.
It comes from the American side.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's
Wow.
the Amarillo, Texas kind of California, Southern California cuisine where they load it with chilies to a point where it blows your palate away. But a lot of Mexican dishes are not even that spicy. They contain spices, but not necessarily chili heat. Some are very hot, but not all of them. And people tend to think that all Mexican food should leave you fiery. When you're finished eating it, your mouth should be on fire, and that's not the case.
So what are the most popular dishes in your restaurant? And I know you like to cook certain things and
Yeah.
that you enjoy, but when people come, what do they typically order? Is it the traditional burritos and enchiladas?
We do have those. Our menu, the thing is, the sales of our menu are really broken down. It's pretty equal, which is good. when you have a heavy-sided menu where you have like 70-80% all in one item category, it's a sign of an unbalanced menu. Ours is very balanced, so we sell our octopus is one of our biggest sellers.
Octopus, you get that locally.
Yeah, we get that locally.
Okay.
It's one of our biggest sellers. Our flautas, which are basically enchiladas that are rolled up and deep fried, nice and crispy on the outside, they sell really well. Our tlayudas, which are our pizzas that are basically folded over, sell really well. We cook them in our pizza oven. Our tacos and enchiladas all sell really well. And then we have antojitos.
Taco, everybody thinks of as the most popular Mexican.
Yeah, and it really is.
At
the end of the day, it is. You can't get away from it with the taco explosion that happened 10 years ago all over North America.
It's kind of like snack food as well.
Antojitos are street food.
Yeah, so, you just with a margarita. Or...
Exactly, a nice cold Corona to wash it down. We do the corn, the atoles, which is the corn with it's a garlicky mayo with fresh cheese on top and chili and lime, really nice, roasted in the oven. So we do all that typical street food as well. We have a new menu starting after Mexican Independence Day, which is on the 16th. We're having a big bash on that day.
16th of September.
Yeah. So on Saturday.
So you're having a big party here.
Big party here. Big bash. There's a big bash happening here at Agave Cocina. It's Mexican Independence Day, the biggest holiday of the year. It's not Cinco de Mayo. That's actually a big holiday in the States. They made that big.
In Argentina.
Yeah, but not in Mexico. So it's the Independence Day on the 16th on the Saturday. It's from 4 o'clock to 11. We have a piñata we're going to put up. We have taco stations, enchilada stations. We have tamale stations as well, and a nacho station. We have a tequila shooter girl. We have jalapeno eating contests. We have boat races with Corona, all kinds of stuff. So.
Jalapeno eating contest.
So it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you can make it out, it's $15 per person, and that gets you 2 food items and 2 drink items. As well, it gets you a ticket into the raffle to whack our piñata.
Okay.
So it's a lot of fun.
Let's talk about matching with drinks, because I think most Mexican restaurants I go here in Cambodia, it's all about margaritas, frozen margaritas.
Yeah.
I mean, is that typical for Mexican food, or is
No,
that sort of the
that's
touristy?
the North American touristy. We don't do frozen margaritas. We do frozen margaritas, but we don't do like the machine kind of stuff.
Right.
We offer our margaritas that are either blended or shaken, because it's like a martini. I find people like them either done one way or the other. Some people don't like them frozen or don't like them pureed. We carry over 40 types of premium tequila and mezcal, the largest selection in all of Cambodia.
Now, is tequila only for shots, or is that
No, it's there are tequila that's designed for shots, and that's usually the shooting tequila, so it's not a high quality.
Right.
It's just something to kind of get you where you need to go. But
it's never a good place.
Yeah, exactly. And then we've all had that tequila night and the day after. But really good tequila, premium tequila, is a sipping tequila. It's just like a cognac or a single malt or any other great beverage.
Now, what brands would people be aware of, should try?
Well, we have the Artinom, which is a fantastic line. We also have Ocho, which is another great line. We carry the whole Patron line, the 1800 line as well. Herradura. We carry the Jose, the Cuervo, the Con Familia, the Classico though, which is the extra aged, extra años, which is a very high, it's the highest end tequila they make.
And what's the significance of the worm in the?
Worm is in mezcal. It's not in tequila.
Okay. Sorry.
And it's usually in a cheaper's mezcal. It's the U.S. college kind of frat party things with the worm and the mezcal. There are some good mezcals that do have the worm in it.
Is there any reason
worms in them?
Any reason to have them?
No, there's not. It's just more of a novelty kind of a thing.
Okay.
So really, really good high-end tequilas and mezcals will not ever have worms.
So if you want different types of tequilas, this is the place to go.
Yeah, definitely. This is the place to come.
For sipping, not for doing shots.
Not for shooting. Yeah. We have the Tres Generazione, which is another fantastic line of tequilas. So if you want to try some really neat tequilas and something different, this is definitely the place you want to come check it out.
Okay. Could we get a tour of the restaurant?
For sure.
Michael, you told us you have, I guess, a diversity of different types of tequila. This Phnom Penh, no doubt, is a drinking town.
Yeah.
Not that you want people to come here and just drink, because the food is fantastic, but you have some fantastic line of tequilas here that are quite special. So can you describe some of these tequilas?
Yeah, we have, as I said, a great array of tequila here. This is just a sampling of some of the tequilas we have. So this is the Cuervo line. This is the Platino. This is their Blanco. This is the highest end of the Blanco that they make. Most people are used to the Cuervo. They also make a shooting tequila, which is not a premium level tequila. It's not 100% blue agave. which is where what tequila is actually made from. So this is a very high-end one. And then we have Tequila Ocho here. And the owner was actually here. He signed the bottle. Here, Thomas. He's the owner of the actual company, and he came down here and he stood up on the bar and signed this. So it was a very cool thing for us. Artenum. And Artenum was named one of the 10 tequilas in the world to try before you die. So it's a pretty fantastic tequila itself. Cabeza is a very earthy, kind of minerally type tequila, very clean drinking, but a lot of people tend to love this tequila. We get a lot of the customers. And then we have the Tres Generaciones, and this is the Plata as well, or the Blanco tequila. And then we have the Supreme Selección from Patron, which is the very high-end tequila from Toronto. And this costs you about $20 a shot.
$20 a shot. How much is the bottle?
The bottle's like $260, $300 for the bottle.
So you import this?
Yeah, this one we bring this one in. And then we also have the Añejo line here, which is from 1800, which is a very well-known line. We carry a bunch of their products. And then we have the Olmeca here, which is the extra aged Añejo as well. And then Don Julio, which a lot of people know too, a very popular tequila. So that's just a couple of the tequilas we have. And then we have the Mezcal over here on this side. And we have the Los Danzantes, which is probably one of the premier mezcals that you can get. It's made by this lady that's a saint in the community there. She's just a fantastic maker, mezcalier. And then we have the Alipus, which again is a fantastic mezcal in its own right. And then the Legal Mezcal. And the illegal mezcal is also a little bit more earthy, a little bit more stronger and bold of mezcal. So, you want to try one? Do you want to try a little bit of something?
A little bit early in the afternoon for me, but let me ask, for your typical Mexican dishes, let's say we talked about, jokingly, a little bit about people in enchiladas and tacos. What would you recommend?
Tequila is not in the sense of pairing like it is for wine. Right. It's more of a festive thing, a communal thing, so you get a bunch of people together. You just drink and celebrate the love of tequila by eating Mexican food. There are certain ones that pair better
like
with
after eating drinks? You know?
Yeah, I kind of think it's you kind of start it towards the end of a meal,
right,
and then you move into it that way. You can pair it with cuisine, but I think in a festive style like this, it's not really what Mexican food is about. It's very communal and celebratory. And that's what tequila is. It's a drink to celebrate over the efforts of what these artisans go through to make it. And what happens is, like, we get people that come in and they'll have a tequila or two, but when the drinking starts, it's after the meal. And that's when the bottle comes out, and that's when they start drinking.
That's when the fun begins.
That's when the fun begins.
It's not a digestive in any way, though, is it?
You know what? It's got a lot of probiotics in it. So tequila has just been recently found that if you actually have one shot of tequila a day, it's very good for your system. It helps your system function a little bit better.
Okay, let's.
But there are a lot of it's been proven by science. So this is not a theory; it's a fact that it is a probiotic. So it's one of the better liquors that you could actually drink.
Good. Let's move on to the kitchen.
Sounds good.
Guys that bring all the hard work and make all the food for you. So we make all of our tortillas in-house for our tlayudas and for our tacos and our and all of our enchiladas and all of our dishes. So we have two types here. We have a flour tortilla that we make fresh every day, and then we also have the corn tortilla, which is made from masa, which is a Mexican corn flour dough, and we make these every day. Mix them with a little lard, and then we press them in these tequila press here. So we have a few of these tequila presses that we use, and we make these every day, and it's a heavy cast iron press, so the weight really helps. But you can use store-bought presses. I mean, store-bought tortillas that are frozen and stuff, but they're just not the same. When you get a really good flour tortilla, it's night and day in the difference in the product it makes. So they're pretty easy to make. Once you get the hang of it, you got to make a couple hundred before you can figure out the right kind of method. But like I said, after you eat these, you'll never want to eat a frozen one again.